Effective love for dads and families. Today, we talk about the real source of stress, and we have a special guest. Russ Solomon is here with us, and let me bring him forward so that you get to meet him. Russ,
Hey,
hi, Russ. How are you
hey,
today?
hello. Good, thanks. Good, thanks. Hello, everybody.
Very good. So,
Thanks for
Russ
having me.
is a dad of a 16-year-old who's called Max, and he's a
Mm.
heart centered guide for parents of neurodivergent kids. Awesome. It
Mm,
is so important to help these parents and these children
yeah,
co create more harmony in their home and more joy, right?
absolutely, for sure, for sure. Yeah.
So, I was wondering, the audience listening, have you ever snapped at your kid and regretted it later?
Yeah,
I have. You
yeah,
have too, Russ.
of course, of course.
So, we're
Yeah,
not alone, and they're not alone. And that's important to understand and to get rid of that guilt. But the difference between reacting and responding is a split second awareness. And today, I have Russ who is going to talk about many things to support you on your journey with your child. So take it away, Russ.
absolutely. Yeah. So first of all, thank you for having me. I appreciate that, and hello again to everybody. And yeah, I definitely snapped and feel terrible because that's not who I want to be, and I know that's not good for my son or for anybody, right? And but
Exactly.
the worst part, besides making him feel bad, is like making it feels terrible to me. It's just like it just
Yeah.
feels bad, and sometimes
Yeah.
you have to snap to get their attention, but there's got to be other ways, right? That's what I think. So let me just kind of start off, just really quickly, just saying a little bit about who I am and kind of what my world is about, and I think that will help to kind of shape then what I say after that, and kind of give a container for it.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds
So,
great.
um, thank you. So, as you did say, I do help parents of neurodivergent kids to eliminate stress and overwhelm so that they can show up in that healthy place for their families and lead with love rather than that frustration or that struggle, which does happen sometimes. I mean, it's kind of part of being human, and it's part of what happens. I think it's important to give yourself grace when that happens and just kind of be
Yes.
forgiving with you as you would be forgiving of your child.
Yes.
So my approach on this is based on a basic truth that I see, which is that your or our stress does not actually come from the challenges that we face, even though I know it feels like that. It doesn't come from the things that are out of our control totally, the world and politics and all these things that are happening. And I don't believe that it comes from our child's difficult behaviors. What I
Mhm.
see is that the root cause of stress is that you haven't learned yet how to be more in tune with yourself to eliminate stress at its source.
Yeah.
And so, what I
Yeah.
mean by in tune is that your inner energies, so your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, and even your body, are all aligned in a way that helps you to feel centered, to feel calm, to feel focused and clear thinking, not just in a general sense, which is nice when everything is working,
Yeah.
but especially during those tough moments, so
Yeah.
that you can respond with intention and you can stay connected to who you really want to be as a parent. And just like you said a moment ago, there's often that split second where we can, if we are aware of that moment, we can make a choice then, right? It's kind of like sometimes that just happens so quickly in the heat of that moment. We go on and then we have that reaction that we don't like. But if you can have an awareness that there is a moment, number one, and then number
Yes.
two, when it is right, because we don't think of these things. I don't always, even though this is what I do. I don't always, and I still snap sometimes. I did the other day, and I felt terrible about it. But
Yeah. But you're
luckily,
not the only one. And even though we
oh,
have resources, it may happen. However,
right.
getting these resources so that more and more there's less of the snapping and there's like snapping out of control and we're more and more grounded because as you said it's an inside job, right?
Absolutely. Happiness is an inside job.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's important to be graceful with yourself. We're all experiencing this for the first time, right? We've never been here before. We're figuring it out as we go at every age, every stage.
Yeah.
So that grace is important.
Yeah.
Um, and so if it's cool, I would like to just maybe talk a little bit about how the different ways that we handle emotions, and then
I would
maybe
love, yeah, for you to you said
okay.
you had 4 things that you do with emotions.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that we all do them, and this is one take, right? This is my take of it, and I know there's a lot of great people out there with different thoughts on it. So I appreciate being able to share my perspective on this. Obviously, hoping that maybe something I say might help somebody and trigger something good.
Yeah.
So so before I say them, what's important is that everyone does all of these things all the time, including me, especially me, right? We all do all of these things. These are natural, normal ways that we handle feelings. So the first thing is that we express them. You know what that is, right? You are venting. You go online and you type like a mad person, and you kind of say what you have to say. And
Mm,
expressing is good. It's fine. There's no judgment. There's no I shouldn't say good or bad. It's just what is. It's what we do.
yeah.
Um, so that's one thing that we do. Escape is another. So we look away, we try to not feel them, try to do whatever we can to take our mind off of it. There's a million ways to do that, especially scrolling, right? Whatever we do. Um, then there is suppressing. So we push them
Mhm,
down. We don't want to feel the ugly feelings. We just
mhm,
kind of, it's also looking away, but it's kind of like stuffing them in. I think most people know what these things are, right?
mhm,
They're automatic responses. And
mhm.
then there's something called releasing, which is the exact opposite of suppressing, which is
Yeah,
actually to let them go, to let the emotional go. So there's no more charge. So the charge is gone. And
yeah,
so in that specific moment that we're talking about it, when you are aware that there's a moment you get to make a choice, when as soon as you realize that you're feeling something that might be triggering to you, you can then make a decision to let go of whatever that emotion is that is going to kind of take over and hijack your day or hijack the moment at least. Does that all make
yeah.
sense so far?
Oh, yeah, that makes so much sense, and what you're talking about is the survival mode, right? The
Yeah.
brain goes into survival mode, the amygdala is there, and it's like,
Yeah.
fight, flight, freeze, or fawn mode is
Right.
you gave the specific examples, which is great for the listeners and the dads who don't know much about the amygdala,
Sure.
so and
Oh,
releasing is like, what a life
sure.
change to be able to release.
It is a normal, natural thing, just like the other things that we do with our
Yeah,
feelings. And so where I come in is that I think most people probably know about these things, right? Everyone has experienced this feeling of releasing before. We've known what it's like to feel really intense or strong about something, but then something comes over you and it just is alleviated. It just leaves you, and it's not.
mm,
You know the difference because if you suppressed it, maybe you might not feel it at that moment, but it does come back. It's still boiling. It's still there when
yeah,
you release it, truly the charge is gone. There, it's
yeah,
just you feel okay. Or if you're releasing about a person or thinking about a person, if you're angry or upset with them, when you've let it go, you'll know that because when you think of them, you only feel love or you feel peaceful about that. You don't feel like you're wanting to change
yeah.
or control anything anymore. So that's how you
That's
can
an
typically know,
excellent example.
right?
Excellent example, yeah.
Thank you, thanks. So I just want to make it clear that everyone has experienced these things. And what I wanted to say, because I always hijack my own thoughts, is that I actually teach a way for people to do that. It's good to know that it's possible. It's good to know that okay, I need to be doing this, but I don't know how, right?
Yeah,
But that's the important part. Is there's a specific actual technique that you can learn to apply in those moments when you need it, whenever you want to, if you want to, right? It's always a choice. That you can let go of a feeling in a couple of seconds in the moment. Things are happening on the spot. So then you could be not just physically present, but emotionally and mentally present. And if there is a moment of a meltdown or something that is maybe a higher intensity moment or a higher intensity challenge happening right now, you need to be present. Like in
yeah,
all ways, you need to be present to handle what's happening. And then from the state of feeling more clear and steady, you might be able to take actions that are better actions than compared to if you were all upset yourself and really stressed out and not seeing clearly, right? We know there's a difference when we make choices when we're angry and upset versus when we're not, right? So
yeah,
this gives us a technique, a way to be in control in the moment things are happening and unfolding.
yeah, for sure. And 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 that's for everyone, right? It's everyone. And
Yeah,
you know, we were not raised to be aware of that split second moment. Most of us weren't. So we need to learn that. It's a new habit that we need to bring into our lives in order to be successful in
for
that
sure.
split second of awareness, right?
Yeah, for sure. And it
Yeah.
doesn't. I totally agree with that, and I want to add that that doesn't have to take a long time. I think it
No.
starts with a desire, like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
I'd like to do that. This sounds interesting. Tell me how. And
Yeah.
then for the awareness of it, right, that it does exist, a desire, I'd like to try it. But once you do, It
Yeah.
could happen pretty quickly. I've seen that a lot. But it happens when you make a decision. If you're not decided, you haven't decided I want to do this, nothing's going to change, right? With a lot of things.
Totally agree with you. 50% of the journey is making that decision, I would say.
Yeah. Do
Yeah.
you want to?
Yeah.
That's it. And so my great thrill is in helping parents who have said yes to that they want to, and then just showing them and just like watching it just give a little bit of support and guidance and maybe a drop of teaching, but people,
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
do it. And just like watch what happens. And then the ripple effect, right? That's where we are, is just
Yes.
talking about how we show up as dads and as parents
Mhm.
affects our families, our lives, and also our jobs and the way we show up in the world. Not just it touches all relationships, so right, not just your with your family and your children.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. So, what's the real source of stress?
Yeah. So as I was saying, it's really it's not the things we think. And I know when I say that, it's like, what are you talking about? What are you telling me that it's not the world or it's not my kids' challenging behaviors, right?
Yeah.
But let's go back into that. Um, it is not what I call a stress or an overwhelm problem, even though it feels that way. I call it an inner harmony problem. So that means that you're
Mm.
not in tune with yourself, and
Yeah.
that's kind of like why I stated that up front. It's just so now when
Yeah.
I could talk about it, people understand that it is really about um, inner harmony. So it's that inner harmony problem, not a stress and struggle problem. And what's really important about this is that you have to address this inner harmony problem, because if you don't, there's always going to be challenges. You're always going to be triggered by things, and there's always going to be stuff happening in the world that you don't like. Not even like within your family or your kids' behavior, whatever. There's always stuff, right? I know for sure. I was
Yeah.
just telling you all that I snapped at my son recently, and I have before, and I hate it when I do that.
Yeah.
And he's a sweetheart, so he takes it well, but I know he doesn't like it either.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so it is really the real source of stress is not being in tune with yourself. And the way to
Yeah.
do that, the
Yeah.
way you can get in tune with yourself, is learning how to let go of those unwanted or unneeded emotions, feelings, and things as they come up, as they happen in the moment. So,
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. So, how does emotional regulation fit in?
yeah, so that's awesome. I love that, because that is, um, I don't know how to exactly say it correctly. So I respect emotional regulation, but that's not even what I mean. I appreciate it. I am grateful for what it is and for
Mm.
people talking about it and sharing that, why it's important and how to do it. So I see it as a very powerful starting point. And what my take is that usually the regulation part kicks in when you've already been triggered, right? Like I say, it's like kind of putting a pot on a lid that's already boiling. The water's already, you try to contain it and keep the heat in and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's important, because you kind of need to be in control in those certain moments when you're feeling that way. You do need to not let that lead the way, but let your calm energy lead. But it's not really calm. It's kind of like just less suppressing, basically, at that point. Which I do want to make a distinction. It's a regulation is not suppressing, but when we're holding things in, that is um, regulation is shifting it, right? Is changing it, is regulating it. So the technique that I teach is about going a little bit further. So it's eliminating the need for the pot altogether. It's about there's no lid, there's no boiling, right?
Mm.
But there is just you as a parent, steady, grounded, and leading from presence from the start. And that's because you've had a way to handle these intense emotions, even when you're not being triggered, right? So
Mhm.
that you have this technique, you have a way to do this so that you are calm. Um, I don't know if the calm is a word that people always relate to, or peace, but it's kind of like the result of doing this work, right? I would say clear thinking,
Yeah.
focus, clarity, right? Not being run or controlled by your emotions that maybe are going to lead you to take actions that are not healthy or not good for you, not the right actions, let's say.
Yeah. The
Um,
ones that you might regret further down the
yeah,
road.
no kidding. Yeah, like a
Yeah.
few days ago, right?
Yeah.
Of course, right. But even with this technique, you can go back. So I can go back. I should go back and look at that situation just in my mind, right? And go and think about what it was like and what happened and
Yeah.
what triggered all that for me. And
Yes.
then I can still do this releasing technique, because we can release whatever we're feeling right now. So even though this happened a couple of days ago, I can go back, feel it again, and let go of it. So now that energy around it is cleaner, and I can
Yeah.
show up. with that energy rather than the regret that I feel like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have done it that way.
Yeah,
Right.
because then you're carrying some more stuff that you need to let go of, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That you can
Mhm.
let go of. And that's
Yep.
that's the thing, and I think that's the point that I want to get across is that I do believe most parents know, like, I shouldn't carry this around, I shouldn't, but I shouldn't be so stressed. But I don't think that they know necessarily, how do I do that? Give me a way, give me a technique, help me with this, guide me on this a little bit. I think that's
Mhm.
where our work comes in, and I think
Yes.
that's what's so good about it. It's not just telling
Mhm.
people. I know for my wife for sure, and for me, it never helps an upset person, just to say to them, "You got to calm down." That
Yeah, no.
that never helps.
Leave me alone, I'm
"Oh,
angry.
we know that." But so hey, calm down doesn't work. It definitely doesn't work for kids.
Yep,
But how do I do that? And
exactly.
so I know there's a lot of ways out there, and
Exactly.
I like the idea that there's no pot in the first place. There's nothing to boil. There's nothing there. It's just
Mhm.
being centered and calm on it.
Yeah, grounded in the moment, using all your 5
Absolutely.
senses
Yes.
instead of being triggered by your amygdala that brings you into that survival mode, and then you're not thinking straight. It's the
Right.
survival mode that's reacting, and we all know
Mhm.
that survival mode is not our best self.
Absolutely, and we can't help it sometimes. It is normal, it's
Oh,
natural to
yeah.
go there, and it's nice also if you have a way to get out when you realize it. And in that split second, to make that decision to do it a different way, maybe to let it go, to use some technique
Yeah.
so that you don't so that you can truly be in that calm, grounded presence in the moment that you need to be,
Yeah,
and in general.
exactly. And I know what it is to be in survival mode. I was in survival mode 24/7 at one point in my life, and I kept making a bad decision on top of another one
Mm,
because I could not bring back to just being myself. The fear was so strong that it took over my life. And that happens in many different situations. And if you're stuck there, reach out for support. And if you just need a few tips, let's keep going, Russ.
yeah, absolutely. Sure, sure. Yeah. Um, so, how can I help? What would you like to know?
Well, you had the question why this hits dads. Yeah, why this hits differently for dads.
Yeah. Well, I think that we as dads are wired to fix things, right? I think I'll fix it. I'll do it. I got it. I got this. And as men,
Hmm.
I think this is maybe it's not a gender thing, but as I can relate to it as a dad, so I'm going to speak from that perspective.
Yeah.
That we we kind of want to we do a lot of suppressing pretty naturally, pretty quickly. Like something comes up, it's like, I'll deal with that later. Right now, I have to, whatever, right? And
Yeah.
so it's easy. It's so
Yeah.
quick, such an automatic response. So in that moment, we get triggered. Rather than letting it go, we suppress it so that we think we can show up and handle whatever has to happen. Like superhero mode or something, but not in
Yeah.
a good way, right?
Yes.
So we're taught to power through these things, but when emotions are running high, that approach can backfire because it's still there. Those emotions are still there, and they're still running the show, and they're probably influencing or informing now your actions that you're taking at the moment. But as dads, we're like we're fixing. We're like in fixing mode. We'll deal with it later, right? We're strong
Yeah.
and tough. Um, so you need to have a way to stay steady in those
Mhm.
high pressure moments instead of reacting to it. Um, and so it's not just a tool that you can kind of pull out in the heat of the moment, but it's really about becoming the kind of parent that you actually really want to be. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes,
Someone,
totally. Because if you
yeah,
want to be leading from a place of love and you're getting upset with your child every other day, you're
yeah,
not being congruent or with who you really want to be. So
yeah,
you really need strategies to find a way to be congruent with leading with love or understanding, whatever it is that
absolutely.
you value most in your family, in your core values for yourself, because if you are following these core values within you, you are happy. If you're breaking those promises with yourself, whether they be conscious or unconscious,
Yeah,
whether they're triggered by our fear mode, whether they hurt us, and they hurt our kids, but they hurt us inside as well. And I go as far as saying that little girl or that little guy within you is reactivated from the fears from way back. And that's, where we need to look and release that so that you can be you, not your reactions to events and to people, and.
Yes, 100%. I
Yeah,
agree, of course. Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. It's having my suggestion for everybody listening, watching,
Mm,
is to, if this clicks with you, if this feels like it resonates in some way,
mm,
please reach out to somebody, whoever you resonate with, all right, to get that support and get some help, some guidance. It's good
yeah,
to get some information, but
mm.
I think Dale Carnegie said, right, it's not knowledge is not power, but it's like what you do with it, kind of thing. Sorry, I totally misquoted that, but right,
It's okay, and
that idea.
the best leaders are those who get coaches to support them.
Yeah, of
So,
course.
be the most amazing leader that you wanna be for your family and get that support, and I think
Yeah.
this is something that maybe even more for men than for women, because there's been so many women support groups over the years, but men, besides the triple A, not triple A, that was the wrong one. The Alcoholic
Oh,
Anonymous,
AA.
the 12-step program. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, there have not been worldwide groups that have really supported men to step into who they are and allow their emotions. They're told to you're a boy, don't
Yes.
cry.
Yeah.
You're
Suppress
and
it.
and that program is stuck in your
Yes.
brain, in your way of dealing with things, and we may end up saying these same things to our child when we had promised ourselves we wouldn't.
Yeah.
And there are many things I had promised myself I wouldn't do that I did. And that is why now I really think self regulation is the top thing to support you
Yeah.
on your journey. Releasing, releasing, and
Yeah.
releasing is so important.
Yeah. Oh my, it is. It can be as automatic as suppressing, right? We are taught that, and that was a great point. Come on, men don't cry, boys don't cry.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do, of course. It's
Yeah.
healthy. We need to, and so that automatic thing that we taught forever since we're children, and maybe we are teaching it to our kids even unwillingly right now, um,
Yeah.
is you can also learn to release and change that habit so that that becomes your normal. That becomes let's say more often than not. Okay, because like I said, I could have done it the other day and I didn't. But what can, I'm human. It happens, and I think I feel worse about that now as my son is 16, and I think as he's getting older, he's learning a lot also about how to handle these things.
Yeah.
But I feel like I carry the guilt or the pain of that interaction longer than, like, he's good. He's over it. This was a few days ago, and
Yeah.
I talked to him about it. He's like, I'm okay. I'm like, wow. Well, so I'm not okay yet.
And,
But that's,
and and it's the expectations we put on ourselves to be perfect sometimes, right? And
yeah,
and
right.
yeah, yeah.
Certainly,
And
I'm
we
certainly
need
not.
to release that as well. There's lots of
Yeah.
releasing to be
Oh,
done.
there's no opportunity. There's no lack of opportunity to let go of things we don't like.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, many, many times a
Oof.
day.
Yeah.
Exactly. And why it still matters, even if they haven't heard it before. I'm not sure what that title was that you had written. I don't have
Yeah.
all the notes.
Yeah, that's okay. So basically, I think we've kind of covered that, but just let me see if I can help to bring that
Okay.
in. So, like we said, so most dads have heard a lot, or most people have heard about emotional regulation. It's very important. We need to do that. And we also have an opportunity, if we want it, if we choose it, to go a little bit deeper than that. So that it's not about like performing calm while you're still feeling the storm in the inside, but it's about being calm without the effort, because you've let go of what is driving those reactions in the first place.
And
That's
that was a beautiful distinction you did, Ross. Being, not just like all the doing or whatever. It's about being, and learning to
yeah,
be is the key, in my opinion, to, yeah. To,
absolutely the best you can as you go, right? And
yes.
and I love that this recent thing with my son came into this conversation, right?
Yeah.
It's funny because it came here because I'm still carrying it, right? It wouldn't have come up otherwise, I don't
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
But so the point is that it's okay. You do you do what you can with it. I will go back and clean that up for myself and let it go so that I feel nothing but love. This time for me, I feel love for my son, no problem. Um, this is what I need for me right now, right?
Yes.
And even though we've heard this before, even though we know what to do, you got to give yourself grace. You just have to, as you would with anyone that you love dearly. Give
Mhm.
give yourself grace because you're doing the best you can, and it's not always easy.
Exactly. And that self-love. If you're just tuning in or you haven't seen the episodes prior, go to episode 1 to 10 is all about self-love. And we need to, well, I choose to release whatever prevents my self-love.
Yeah,
Whether it's, all of a sudden you said something and there was a critical idea about something else that happened today that popped in. So I was not being present. This thought took over. I'm like, whoa, what are you doing there, Christine? Let's release that because you don't need that right now.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and our brains are like, mine is very fast and it has a lot of releasing left to do even though I've done tons, which is okay because
yeah,
it's a choice that I have made to release and to let go and to snap, tap, zap that out so that I can be present in the moment and get less and less and less triggered. And I think I only have a couple things now that still trigger me that I'm still focusing on, and that's okay.
yeah.
But
Of course.
generally speaking, most things I'm able to just take a quick breath and snap, tap, zap, and do that. But
Yeah,
you have a whole new technique. And I believe that you would like people to reach out to you to find out how you show them
sure.
how to release. Unless you're willing to give us a few tips or you want to keep those, that's okay.
Yeah.
Whatever feels right for you, Russ.
I think so. Yeah, I'm totally willing, but I don't think that I think I've said what I could say
Perfect.
about it.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be secretive or anything. This technique that I teach is very simple and that it's very available. A lot of people you can do it. There's a specific way that I show people how to do it so
Yeah.
that it becomes very quick. So that is not so it is a mental process, and I could tell you that, right? But it won't mean anything to anyone
Yeah.
because
No.
it's going to be
Yeah.
here, and it really needs to be experienced. And then
Yeah.
sometimes you need a little bit of coaching with it,
Hmm.
not coaching, support, guidance, right, to implement it into those moments. Oh yeah, that happened. Oh, that's when I could have, right? And then it comes in. So
Yeah.
that's where the support that I offer comes in, is that I help people to integrate this, and I walk with you on the path as
Mm.
so it becomes a thing that you do naturally, just like that's like your first choice. You first think of going to that, and then it takes a little bit of time just to integrate it because it's been our whole lives. You've had you for your whole life, right? Here's something brand
Yeah.
new. So
Yeah.
that's my struggle in trying to like give this right right now, because it's an experience that needs to happen over some time, not just in a quick way like this.
Yeah, you've got many little steps and I love that you will
Yeah,
help them you support them and guide them to the integration of how you do it because the integration of a technique, I mean, I've done 100 and what
yeah,
episode are we today?
hmm,
108 episodes, and most of them are showing how to integrate the snap, tap, zap at a deeper level and at a
yeah,
so, it's understandable that you have a technique that needs time to
a little bit.
integrate and
Yeah,
practice, right? We need to practice it
that's a great way
so
to
that
say
it
it.
becomes like second nature. Like
Yeah,
for me to go, okay, whoo, I'm just going to release that right now,
yeah.
whatever
That's
it
a
is.
great way to say it because it
Yeah.
is practice.
Hmm.
That's really a very nice way to say it. And
Yeah.
it reminds me of like what you were saying before, like the greatest people. Like think of like the top athletes in the world, right? They have coaches to get them there. Right? All teams
Yes.
have coaches, right?
Yes.
So it's a great thing to have someone to walk with you and help you to keep your energy where it needs to be, so that you can practice this stuff and it feels healthy and good. Um, and
And
so,
and I think today's athletes have like the physical training coach and the mental
Mhm.
training coach.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, if we go back in 1940, maybe not, but today, in
Mhm.
today's day and age, they have both these types of coaches to support them so that they
Yeah,
can just, make it through faster. Because if you have an emotional, you show up at a race with emotions, you're just not going to be at your best and be
right.
in that's where you mess up your startup or you mess up whatever
Absolutely.
it is.
Yeah,
And yeah.
yeah.
So I want to thank you. Did you have some last words you wanted to share for
Um,
these amazing dads and families that are listening
is
in
it
or will be listening in?
is it okay if I give my website
Oh,
information?
I would love for you to give
Okay.
your website.
Okay, so if you do want to reach out, that's a great way to get to me. The website is raisingspecialneedskids.com, and when you go there,
Raisingspecialneeds.com. Okay, I will put
raising
that in
special
the
needs,
comments after.
the word kids, so raisingspecialneedskids.com.
Okay.
I hope I said it
Okay.
right. I can mess up my
Oh,
own
I
website.
might have missed a word. Let me add it here.
So if
So,
you
and you
go
can
there,
see
you can watch. I
raising.
have a master class that goes a little bit more deeply into what we're talking about today. And then there's a way to reach out for what I call a parent wellness assessment. And here's where we can just have a quick conversation to see if I can help you with this stuff and
Okay.
do the
So
best.
I'm putting it in oops, I'm putting it here. Double check that I spelt it right. Raisingspecialneedskids.com.
I think that looks good.
Okay. So there we go. I will let
Yeah,
that scroll at the bottom for a little bit. So if
I
people
see it.
want to have a
Mhm,
second to collect that data. Well, I thank you. It was very, very valuable. And
mhm.
maybe dads would like to share one tip that they learned today in the chat so that they can
Yeah,
interact with you, Russ.
that'd be
And
great.
feel free, because when you interact, you're supporting. It's like building that community with other dads,
Yeah,
and we just want to be here for you to support you on your journey.
absolutely.
So, wishing you all the best.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. And to everybody else, the ripple effect of love for dads and families. You can reach me at my website at the bottom, christinebenna.com, or you can reach me. You can book a call. My QR code is up in the top. What side is that? Right hand corner. So I believe in you. You've got this. Just one baby step at a time. Make that decision to improve your self regulation to see